Hello people of YouTube and welcome back. So yeah, we're going to be doing a bit of a VR video to James Import Video Games Gamer. I don't know, I'll put a link down below. I'm sure you all know him. If you know my channel, you'll know him. He does some awesome stuff, very much to my liking. Very big Outrun fan, but a lot of his VR that he did was a bit wrong, and I'm kind of offended because I sent him some amazing like box art games, especially ones with working design, foil cover art. They were fantastic, and they didn't even make the cut. So I'm a bit wounded with that, James. A bit wounded. So that means I have to do a VR myself. So yeah, like I say, I've just picked out a load of games around my room that just stuck out. I've probably sold a lot that I would probably have put in my, not top 10, but kind of a top 10. There's a few games that I knew I still had and I just zoned in straight for. And then a few that like, yeah, they're pretty good. But yeah, first up, before I go any further, as of I'm recording now, Saturday the 16th, tomorrow is Black Country Game Fair, which I am selling some of my wares at. So yeah, it will be great to see some of you there. I think it's nearly sold out. And if it's not sold out, and if it has sold out, don't worry about that. It's still free entry after that. So I think it runs from 10 till 3 p.m. at something Arena Archery Combat in Walsall, Briley Hill. That's the one. So that's 17th of September if you're watching it as of today. So get yourself there. Be there or be square. So yeah. It was an amazing event last time, and yeah, looking forward to seeing a lot of the people that I saw there last time. So yeah, let's get on with the video though, shall we? So video game box art porn. What have I got left in the collection that could be considered box art porn? Fortunately, there's still quite a lot. Is it import heavy? I think it's about 50-50 to be honest. Obviously there's going to be a lot of imports because that's kind of like what I'm focusing on the most. There's a bit of modern but not much. It's more retro because I think the box art on retro games do swing in favour of being like mouth-watering. So first up, have I put this in my top 10? I did this list and then walked away, did a few things and come back, so I can't remember what I've done. But this was like my first import that I bought. Hang on, am I recorded? I think I am. Well, we'll find out soon enough, won't we? Yeah, so this was the first import that I bought in my collecting journey. I think I probably bought this about 10, 12 years ago or something. And it was a game that I loved as a kid. As a youth, young roller core. And I saw the Japanese import thing, and I just fell in love with it instantly, and it's Pocket Fighter. For the PS1 specifically. In fact, Marcus, mark my video down. Give me a thumbs down, please. I've not done this on purpose either. I don't even know where it is. I'm sure it is there. There it is. There we go. This. Skip that bit. So this would be the version that people would probably want on their top 10 list because that is pretty fantastic. I'm not doing a good job of this, am I? Yeah, that is quite a fantastic cover, but I don't know, this speaks volumes to me. I don't know what it is. It's that like sort of like, it's not even like chibi look. It's, I don't know, it doesn't match the game, and it's just that intrigue, and it just sort of like, it looks like when I first saw it, I thought it was like a fake game because it was not what I remember as a kid, and I think that's what intrigued me into getting imports. I mean, I didn't get many imports after this. This is the first one of many in about 2 or 3 years. But yeah, like that is the top of my top 10. My first one. This is top tier anyway, but. That is something speaks volumes about that game. I've got to find somewhere to put it. Next up, Total NBA 97. What a cover this is. Now, I mean, at first glance, it just looks really boring, but it's about the texture. That is video game box art porn in its finest. It's got that touchy-feely. Oh, I could rub this all day. And not only that, but I could do this all day. Open and close. Again, Marcus, I think if video games, if PS1 games were like this going forward, Marcus could have maybe adjusted to us doing this while we're doing our pickup videos. But yeah, I remember doing that quite a lot on the video games. Mortal Kombat 3 specifically, because I used to play that game quite a lot, and I kind of wish PS1 stuck to this format of the cardboard box. There would have been, collecting nowadays would be very hard to do so, I'd imagine, but when you see a nice condition box like this, oof, speaks volumes, and especially with this rubbery mat. And back in '97, back when I was a wee little nipper still at school, I used to stay up at like 2 o'clock in the morning to watch all the basketball matches. It was on Channel 4, I think, back in the day, if I remember correctly. That was a long time ago, so yeah, don't quote me on it, but yeah, I can remember it was like 1, 2 o'clock in the morning. You used to get to school in the morning really knackered, and me and my mates would talk about what we watched. Great times for basketball, and I think you can tell by the level of detail on this box. It's not so much box art, but box porn, true and unadulterated box porn. What we got next? I actually can't see the spine, so I don't actually know. This is quite a new one in my sort of like realms of like what I think is great and stuff like that. But when I first saw this, I was like, this is great box art, and it is Aeroblasters. Now I only just picked this up as well from Craig's Here Again, and there is something that just, I don't know, it's sort of like Saturday, that gives you that Saturday morning feel of like the early days of like when there was a little bit of anime sort of like put onto our TV screens, but it would be like very few and far between. What's it called? Battle of the Planets and stuff like that. There was a few others and I can't remember what they were. But yeah, it just reminds me of that early sort of like, well, late 80s, early 90s, which I suppose that's what this is. And yeah, it's a very striking cover, I find. It doesn't, unfortunately, it bucks the trend of some of the Japanese games where it like sort of like goes from cover to cover. It kind of does, I suppose, but not really much. No, it doesn't at all. It really doesn't. But yeah, it's probably not the best of anime sort of like looks or drawings and stuff like that. But like I say, that title, there's something very special about it. But yeah, the Mega Drive one in particular is just notches it above the others for box art aesthetics. Is it a better game than PC Engine? Well, that's open for discussion. That really is open for discussion, and that's a separate video, isn't it, I suppose. Next up, we have got Master System. So every time I see this cover, I am instantly brought back to a school kid at youth club and being like, what is that game? I need to play that game instantly. And as soon as you did, the cover is like instantly like, that is why. Yeah, it's Rampage for the Master System. Fantastic cover. I love this. Really do. It's almost like creeping into full box art, which Master System didn't really have that much like this. So when you first saw this back as a school kid, you'd be like, whoa, why does the Master System games look like that? They look almost like an NES game. But yeah, fantastic game. I didn't really play this in the arcades. I don't think I did at all, to be honest. I think it was only like later on in life that I actually found an arcade machine, which is quite surprising because I did a lot of arcading as a youth. But yeah, Master System was the way I played this as a kid at youth club, and always used to see this box art, and it used to speak volumes to me, and it still does. I just love like the carnage and chaos that is ensuing on that front cover. Unfortunately, not all the characters are visible. Is that Lizzie? I can't remember the names of the characters, but wow, fantastic! It's the game is just summed up instantly as soon as you see that image. Now, next game, I don't know what it is about this game. I think it's the color palette, and it's Xenon. This was one of the games that I never saw the box art as a kid, mainly because I was a big old pirate. But yeah, I prefer this game to the second one, and I think this is a lot more simple of a shooter than the second one. Soundtrack's probably not as good, but we're talking box art here, and nice top drawer box art. The box art spans the cover onto the back. Oh wow, fantastic! Now we're talking. We're going up a level now, definitely. And I think it's that forced perspective. You almost feel like you are that spaceship going into a bit of a war zone, but it's that like subdued, limited palette that really draws you into video games. And I think that's what modern video games kind of like lose sight of these days. It's like they just throw too much onto a box art cover, and it sort of like loses that sort of like memorability. This is just like a fantastic title slapped onto like a contrasting sort of like image, and there you've got Xenon. Fantastic. And this is for the Amiga, by the way. Great game. Next up we have got, wow, again we're talking limited palettes here, and I don't know what to say about this, but I absolutely love this Dracula, Rondo of Blood, Dracula XXX for the Super Famicom, Vampire's Kiss, whatever you want to call it, from whatever region you're at or whatever system you play it on. I think the Super Famicom version is the best version cover completely. I absolutely love this look. It's sort of like posterized, where it's like sort of like very limited. It's like there's not much shading. In fact, I don't think there is any shading at all, and that takes very special skills to do that and make it not look just like a simple flat shaded image. You don't see many art styles like this cover on any sort of like other systems or any other games. This is a very one-off. But yeah, and it's the sort of like gold tinted box as well on the top, that just again speaks volumes to me. This just looks like a premium product. If you was to have walked into a game shop back in the 90s, you would have been like, what is that game? I need that now. Fantastic. Just beautiful artwork. Yeah, it's, what's it called? There's a screen printing linography, is it? It looks like linography, that's what it is. Is it linography? I don't know. Someone could correct me if you will. Yeah, super special. And then when you compare it to what was out before in the Castlevania world, it's like night and day. It's like terrible, but in some ways kind of great as well, because it is so bad. Look at that artwork. It is not being drawn to very good like sort of perspectives. It's just not very good, well done at all, but it's what we got, and it's still eye-catching. And that's the thing, like even bad box art back in these days were good. It was great, and the back of the box is just amazing. It's just like sort of what's it called, stained glass. Really cool. I think it's better than the back of this box for sure, but that cover is night and day the best. And what do we have next? We have got a dusty tape. What is that doing in here? As you can see, like terrible. Why would anyone put dusty tapes on a front cut like best of? Like, that is just terrible. No, I've got to admit, I do enjoy watching. I've not got any sort of nostalgia for dusty tape collecting. However, I do really enjoy watching people's like pickups because of the artwork that is on it. It's such cool cool artwork that's really like hand drawn and you don't get anymore. But I'll still take the piss and call it dusty tapes because that's what they are. Next up, we've got a modern game. In fact, this is the only modern game we've got in here, and I don't know if this is cheating art because the box art itself isn't very good. I suppose it's cool. Don't get me wrong, it's cool, but this is a special edition, and I don't know if you can tell, but this has got like sort of a really shiny box art print. This is printed on like something shiny, metallic-y looking. Oh god, this is a disco inspired shmup, and that box art, you can't get any more disco than what is in my hand right now. Fantastic game, very different from like a lot of the cave games previously or afterwards even, and I think that's what makes this special. I mean, a disco shmup, published by LRG for the PS4. It's a retro game, so there is still the retroness in here. But yeah, fantastic. I love it when games are on some kind of foil print. When that happens, top drawer, it's like an instant buy. Foil covers and slip covers. Yeah, you won me over. So that one's going there. So how can we get better? There's three more games, and of course Super Metroid for the Super Famicom. I don't know if you can tell by my tattooage, but I'm very much like dark sort of like style artwork that have like very colourfulness to it, if that makes sense. Is that a word? Is that a description? I don't know, but like as you can see, it's like this looks really dark. You've got something on the front popping out, but if you notice, there's like high definition colour lurking in there. Just great. It's just such a cool scene. You don't notice it until you start looking, and when you start looking, it's like, wow, look at all that detail in here. I originally wanted this as a tattoo. I always remembered seeing this artwork in a magazine back in the day, and again, it's the title as well. It just really stands out. It's just that simple but very colourful and strikingness. It's just a whole package of this just is so special. And the Super Famicoms, I think it's just like the long and narrow boxes just make artwork just seem a lot more cooler. I don't know what it is that Super Famicom games, sort of like how this format makes it better, but it really does. Switch doesn't seem to work. They're just, I don't know, they're just really boring to me. But next up, again, probably this, well, it is. It's a reiteration of covers past. So we've already talked. Well, someone else has already talked about this, but I couldn't not have this in my top 10, and it's Gradius, Nemesis, whatever you want to call it. This background is fantastic. Again, it's like you're the ship going into this space ground battlefield, and it just looks so epic. It just looks so flipping amazing. I just love it. And then you kind of got like the Maui heads in the background, and like there's just like little nods to what you're gonna be facing in that game eventually. And again, limited color palettes. It's modern games just don't get it anymore. It's just they need to throw everything at you at once, where I suppose there is a lot thrown at you with this, but because of the limited palette, it sort of like makes it easier to digest on your eyes maybe. I don't know, I'm not an art critic. All I know is this is top tier. This is like number 2 in my box art. Even if I had more games, this would still probably be there. And my number 1, not the best game. In fact, I'm not really sure I'm a fan of it. But it's Shadow of the Beast. Flipping heck. Again, it's that unusual sort of like landscape. Sort of like, in fact, is this probably the same sort of shape as a Famicom box, but like bigger. Wow. I can't remember the artist who did all these Psygnosis box arts, but I mean, you could probably do a top 10 of just Psygnosis box art. They are all that iconic, but to me, Shadow of the Beast is the most special. I don't know what it is. I don't know. I just love the title. Again, the titling is very special. In like sort of like making you know what the game is, and it's like you've got that Japanese style looking tree in the background. I don't know what the name of the tree is, but then you've just got like these like creatures that are just like so alien and so unusual. You like, it just piques your interest, and you're like, what is going on? I'm gonna say it again, innit? Look at that limited color palette. And it just makes that title stand out so much more. But yeah, and then as well, it's like you can see stuff, but you can't see it at the same time. There's like, it's like a double image going on in the background, but again, it doesn't overwhelm your eyes. So it just makes it one of the most memorable box arts. This was like, when I was looking around the room, I didn't even have to look at the room without thinking that is going into my top 10. But yeah, anyway, that is my top 10 video games box arts that I can find right now. Who knows, I might do another one of these in the future. But that is what it is right now. And I'd love to see other people's. So, great to see a VR going around. There's a few other people that have done them. I'm trying to link them below. But yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll see you tomorrow at the Black Country Gaming Fair. Peace.